if you have that person that has always thought of becoming powerful to make a change in the world, however, you feel powerless due to self-sabotage, or maybe you're a high achiever or a high performer, yet still you do have that kind of imposter syndrome, this could be the only video you need to change your entire reality. I urge you to focus and take insights from this video that could change that reality. You're already thinking of scrolling away, right? Most of the times when you hear about the secrets of the most powerful families in history, such as the Medici family of Florence, the Rothschilds family of Europe, and the Rockefeller family, their secret was basically manipulating the economic events in their times, and that's how they amass their power. However, the kind of power we are talking about here transcends their kind of power, but includes their kind of power too. This secret of that power was actually revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the chance to flaunt wealth, but he decided not to take that path of power. So he becoming powerful with that wealth would be that kind of power which is powerful. But aside that, this secret was also inherited by people after him, such as the Khulafa al-Rashidin. The Khulafa al-Rashidin are the rightly guided caliphs, which include Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar bin Khattab, Uthman bin Affan, and Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhum. We could even say these caliphs learned directly from the prophets, the secret. However, other powerful people that also learned the secret were Umar bin Abdul Aziz, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, Muhammad Fatih, and Muhammad bin Qasim. All these were powerful people who knew the secret. These family of powerful people became powerful without amassing wealth, unlike the former families like the Medici family, the Rothschild, and the Rockefeller families. They had to amass wealth or manipulate the economy to become powerful. It therefore clearly means that the former without their wealth are insecure. However, the latter are still secured without wealth. And this is why Allah says this about them in the Quran. أَلَا إِنَّ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Verily, for the friends of Allah, there's no fear and they shall not grieve. Subhanallah. We may not be powerful to change the world as these people. However, if we could learn the secret to change our own lives and have a ripple effect on others, including having the wealth and learning to be powerful even without the wealth. Before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the family that was ever powerful was the family of David. And then his son, Solomon, inherited it. And that secret of their power was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad in the Quran. Some elites have some insights to the secret of the power of Sulayman, which the masses aren't aware. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear to us in the Quran, however, to the very discerning eye of the believers. The reality today is becoming more virtualized so that we get distracted on finding the true secret to real power. So now let's delve in right into the secret in the Quran. That in Surah Sad, Allah said, "Isbiru ala ma yaqulun." Be patient with whatever they say. وَاذْكُرْ عَبْدَنَا دَاوُدَ. And remember our servants, Dawood, that is David, Dhul Aidi, the man of strength. And most of the interpreters like Qatada and Mujahid all say that strength here means strength in knowledge and action. Innahu awwab. He was someone who always returned back to Allah. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the two Sahihain, that is in the Hadith, he said that Dawood was someone who used to pray a third of the night and almost fasted all his entire life. And he even said the best salah is the salah of Dawood. And I remember, he said, "Inna sakharna al-jibala ma'ahu yusabbihna bil-ashiyyi wal-ishraq." And we subjected the mountains with him to what? To praise, to glorify Allah. Bil-ashiyyi wal-ishraq. From the start of the day and to the end of the day. Wal-ishraq here is actually that time, that is after the sun had risen. And you could imagine Ibn Abbas said in one of his statements that he never understood what ishraq until someone came to him and took him to al-Hani and said that the Prophet ﷺ within that time would what? Would pray 8 units of rak'ah. This is another secret for you. وَالطَّيْرَ مَحْشُورًا. Their birds would what? Would gather كُلُّ لَوْ عَوَّابٍ in obedience to Dawood. وَشَدَّدْنَا مُلْقَوْ. And we strengthened his kingdom or his dominion. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحِكْمَ وَفَصْلَ الْخِطَابِ. And we gave him sound judgment, وَفَصْلَ الْخِطَابِ, and clear speech. And the following ayahs talked about these two men that came to his mihrab, his place of worship. Whilst he was worshipping, they entered without permission. So his instincts of the subconscious actually reacted when he saw people unexpectedly. So when they came to him, one actually complained that his brother had 99 ills, but that brother wanted his ill to add to his own. So they came for judgment, and then Dawood, that's David, gave his clear judgment. So whilst he was trying to pass judgment, he said, most people usually are unjust when they are dealing with people, except those who believe in Allah and do righteous deeds. But right after he passed the judgment, he is an infallible prophet. However, he felt he was tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what did he do? He turned back to Allah and sought for forgiveness. And after seeking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, and we brought him closer to us. Meaning his access, his closeness to Allah got better. So the part of the ayah talks about the fact that he returns back to Allah for forgiveness by performing the sujood. And sujood is one powerful tool for a believer. Because the Prophet ﷺ said about this sujood and said, سجدها داود عليه الصلاة والسلام توبة ونسجدها شكرا. The prostration of Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam was returning back to Allah. But we do the prostration in gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Gratitude is one important tool that this elite understand. But this is something that we are given on a silver platter. However, how many of us make good use of it? Allah also tells the Prophet Muhammad when he said that وَمِن ذُرِّيَّةِ دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ. He was talking about the progeny of Nuh, and he said, from the progeny are Dawood and Sulayman. And said, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ. These are the people Allah guided. فَبِهُدَاهُ مَقْتَدِي. So follow that path of their guidance. Yes, salam. I ever told you guys, when we read the Quran, let's read with some insights, looking out for insights. And these are the beautiful insights that we can find in our only book. Also, it was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Dawood, فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. Judge between people with the truth. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَىٰ. And do not follow your desires. If you remember in a previous video, I spoke about how you can activate the soul, and I spoke about the levels of the soul. That is, the lower of those souls usually are the ones that are attracted to the desires. And if you're someone who constantly and persistently follows the desire, then you want to be far away from the mercy and bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next ayah also blows my mind when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا بَاطِلًا ذَلِكَ الظَّنُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Allah said, we have not created the heavens and the earth and whatever is in between them without purpose. ذَلِكَ الظَّنُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. These are the thoughts of those who disbelieve. And kafaru here also means those who are not grateful. Another insight that we can take here is Allah made everything available to us to tap into for bounties, except for the one who is not grateful. You might have heard the term law of attraction, which is often said by these metaphysicists and those new thought movements. They usually have an aqidah, a belief system that usually is questionable. But basically, from all that we read now, basically means that when you return or surrender your soul to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah would subject everything to you. Everything in the universe would be subjected to you, such as it was subjected to Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam. And we will get to know how it was also subjected to Sulayman alayhi salatu wasalam. Remember, I said that we should read the Quran for insight to guide us in our life. In the same chapter, Allah said, كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ مُبَارَكٌ. We have sent down the book to you, full of blessing, لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِ, so that you can contemplate and ponder over its verses. وَلِيَتَذَكَّرَ أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. And this would remind the people of understanding. And this is not the insight I was talking about earlier. We read the Quran for insight to guide us with our own lives. And in the following ayat, Allah speaks a lot about Sulayman, how Sulayman was granted to Dawood as a gift, because Sulayman was one of the powerful people. So he was favored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was wealthy with lots of horses. So once he asked the horses to be brought to him for him to acknowledge the wealth Allah gave it to him, he would pass his hands over them, over the herds of those horses. He got so much immersed with the wealth that was given to him by Allah, and he forgot to surrender to Allah, that's to pray to Allah. Then when he remembered, he realized that the reason for his forgetfulness was because of this wealth that was given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what did he do? He rather chooses to surrender back to Allah, or he takes the wealth. So he rather asks for the wealth, that is the horses, to be brought and slaughtered, in order to show that the wealth are nothing as compared to his servitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He felt he was tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he returned back to Allah for forgiveness, and Allah forgave him. But the next ayah that is so much mind-blowing was the ayah he told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, قال رب اغفر لي وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعدي إنك أنت الوهاب. He said, oh my Lord, forgive me, وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد, and give me a dominion, a kingdom that was not given or wouldn't be given to anybody after me. إنك أنت الوهاب. Indeed, you are the one who grants that bounty. This is a secret name of Allah that is given to us in the Quran. Remember, Allah said, وَلِلَّهِ أَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. With Allah belongs the most beautiful names, so invoke Him with those names. Al-Wahhab is part of the beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the bestower of bounties. However, this same ayah, which was an invocation from Prophet Sulayman as a secret itself, although he prayed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should give him that kingdom that won't be given to anybody after him. You can also say this dua, or you wouldn't get the dominion, but imagine you could be more powerful in these times, just as the others were powerful in their times. He returned back to Allah for forgiveness, and Allah gave him even much better than those horses. And Allah said, وَسَخَّرْنَا لَهُ رِيحَ تَجْرِي بِأَمْرِ رُخَاءً حَيْثُ أَصَابَ. We subjected the winds that blew gently with his orders to wherever he willed. Yes, salam. Bro, this is a lot of sauce for you. And the other ayat also mentioned how Sulayman was given control over the shayateen. Among them, there were those who were builders and those who could dive into the deep sea. And then there were those who he had to chain them up because they were being obstinate and they were stubborn. And then Allah said, هَذَا عَطَاؤُنَا فَمْنُنْ أَوْ أَمْسَكْ بِغَيْرِ حَسَابٍ. This is our gift. You can either spend it or decide to hold it. We won't hold you accountable. It's a hadith in the two Sahihain. It mentions that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given the opportunity to either be a messenger where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands him and he distributes what Allah commands him to do, or he takes prophethood and kingship. That is, he is given that opportunity to do whatever he wills and withhold whatever he wills. But he rather choose for the former. The insight we can get here is you can become powerful with or without wealth. Just as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose to be powerful without being wealthy. And so were the Khulafa al-Rashidin and the people who came after them. However, if we think we want to be wealthy and become powerful, there's no problem with that. However, let's note that sometimes wealth can bring some kind of arrogance, which we would want to avoid, so that we don't prevent ourselves from getting the eternal reward. I used to think that I need wealth to become powerful, until I saw this ayat and realized that how powerful we could be without wealth. Obviously, we're in the times where it's so seductive to fall prey to having to amass the wealth. Well, we find ourselves in that path. However, we would have to choose the path where we get our iman much more stronger to get ourselves more powerful than to feel more lured by the wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us understanding. I know you've taken all your insights now. If you like this video, just give it a like and share it to others, and also subscribe if you haven't done that yet. I'll see you later, and hopefully we would meet in Jannah.